everyone. Welcome to Barca News. It is February 19th, 2025, and Barcelona have issued a major Spotify Camp Nou update. I'm going to tell you all about it. Also, Barcelona have received a huge injury boost. And finally, Barcelona considering the signing of a Ligue winner. Winger, not winner. I guess he could be a winner. We have a lot to discuss, so let's begin. Hello everyone, and welcome to the channel. My name is Boo, and I'm bringing you this short live stream because once again today I had to work really late, so I didn't have time to film, edit, and post. So I'll just do it live because it's faster since I don't have to edit. But this is a short live to bring you all the Barcelona news. It's not a podcast, so I won't be reading the comment section. But of course, tomorrow there is a podcast, so make sure you tune in. Now let's begin with the news because, ladies and gentlemen, we do have an update in regards to the elections, the Barcelona presidential elections, because as you know by now, Joan Laporta has resigned in order to run for presidency again so he can try to get reelected, which I'm sure that's what's going to happen. He, of course, resigned with several other members of his board so they can all run together as part of the same campaign. And well, if Laporta does win, that's what's expected to happen, he could be returning to the club with 5 new directors. Now, these directors include, or possible directors include, Carme Hurtala, who is an economist, Oriol Amat, who's also an economist, Carles Ayats, who's a corporate economist, Jaume Santiberi, who's a real estate and hotel mogul, Xavier Barniol, who's also a real estate mogul in Barcelona, and finally, Eduardo Romeo, who used to be the Barcelona treasurer, but he left because of disagreements with the current treasurer, which is Ferran Olivier. So if Ferran Olivier does leave, Eduardo Romeo could return, which would be, I think, in my opinion, nothing against Olivier, but I think Eduardo Romeo did a wonderful job. After all, he was one of the architects of the Spotify Camp Nou renovation deal. Anyway, speaking of Joan Laporta, he did issue an important statement in regards to what's going on with the referees. As we know, Barcelona were robbed both against Girona and Atletico Madrid, even though they deserved to lose. But nonetheless, the refereeing errors were absolutely insane. And well, this is what the Barcelona candidate, I guess, since he's not a president anymore, Joan Laporta had to say about the entire ordeal. And pay attention because this is what I've been saying for quite some time. Looks like Joan Laporta is a channel subscriber. I'm kidding, of course. But Laporta said the club has sent a letter to the federation, which oversees the technical committee of referees. It's a very well-argued document, attempting to be constructive with indisputable facts. Of course, we did cover the statement that Barcelona issued about that letter that the club sent to the Royal Spanish Football Federation. If you didn't see that video, it's on the channel. In any case, what's happening here is what we can't just dwell on, complaining. That's not the behavior of a club of Barca's stature. We must be clear, express our opinion to the relevant bodies, and try to improve this group. 100% I agree with this statement. We cannot be complaining. We have to take action. Send letters, formal complaints, or formal requests to the bodies, but we can't just dwell on it and complain. We have to take action and move on. And I'm glad that Laporta said that because for the longest time I kept saying, yo, Laporta, these statements are awesome, but when are you going to actually do something about it? And well, the club has. Now we continue, but we're starting to see trends that are inexplicable, that are difficult to explain. There are certain referees, and it's a constant recurring issue that when they call our games, they really mess things up for us. And that's the reality. You can name them all. And it's happened more than once with identical plays. They've even called the opposite of what they've called against us to our detriment. That's blatant. I don't think you have to name them. I think they're all the same shit. You don't really have to name any specific refs. I think we could just say all of them because pretty much all of them have screwed us over. When we say we defend Barca against everything and everyone, this is what we mean. Some people just can't accept that we are what we represent or what we can achieve as a team because on the field, we have a very competitive team that can aspire to almost anything. But it's true that when we're going through a rough patch, they try to crush us. And when the others are going through a rough patch, they help them out. They've learned to swim and they dive right in. But we have to accept all of this. We have to fight against it. The best way to deal with it is to be better to be a better team to try to overcome this adversity. Thank you, John Laporta, for saying this, because I've been saying this on the channel since I started the channel, which is the best way to deal with this is to be better as a group, as a team, to continue growing, to continue improving, and to get to the point where even if refs are ruling against us, it doesn't matter. Because if you score 5 goals and they commit a clear penalty against you, it doesn't matter. Sure, you could have won 6 goals, but hey, you still scored 5, you still won. So this is the best way to overcome this adversity, because that's what champions are made of. Champions don't quit. Oh, let's leave the league. Go where? What kind of losership mentality is that? Champions face adversity head on, and if they can't overcome it, they keep working on becoming better, growing, and developing up until to the point where you can overcome the adversity. And Barcelona did not become a great club by giving up, by walking away from fights. No, Barcelona became a great club by taking fights head on. So please, if your solution to this whole refereeing thing is to leave to another league, don't listen to me. Listen to John Laporta, who said this: that's not the behavior of a club of Barca stature. In other words, be better. Don't be some whiny little bitch. Be better. Have a champion's mentality. Anyways, let's move on, because, ladies and gentlemen, Barcelona have issued a major Spotify Camp Nou update. As you know by now, the Camp Nou is operating under the licenses 1A and 1B, which allows the club to host people in both lateral stands and south goal. However, the north goal, as you can see in this picture, is still empty because we still haven't obtained the 1C license, which will increase the stadium's capacity from 45,000 to 62,000, which of course will be a big revenue boost. Now, originally we were supposed to get that 1C license in January. That got delayed because there were delays in the city issuing the license. You know, when Barcelona finished the construction of that section, the north goal, they submitted all the paperwork. The city said, we need more paperwork. We need to see more planning on how the routes, how people are going to enter and exit the stadium without, having a crane falling on their head. Barcelona went back to the drawing boards. Barcelona then submitted the new paperwork. It was expected that we would get this license for this upcoming match this weekend against Levante, but now it's being revealed that the city have still not issued the license, but it's a matter of that the city are behind on issuing licenses. It has nothing to do with the construction itself. That section is completely done. Barcelona have done everything. They submitted all the paperwork. Everything's good to go. The only thing they're waiting for is for the city to just stamp it and issue the license so Barcelona can reopen that north goal. Now, when will that happen? Well, this is the statement that was issued by the club. FC Barcelona informs that once the approval of Phase 1C of the Spotify Camp Nou corresponding to the north goal is obtained from the Barcelona City Council, the club will allocate 100% of the increased capacity planned in this new stage of progressive opening of the stadium to season ticket holders. The club is awaiting final authorization from the City Council to activate Phase 1C, an approval that is expected to be obtained as soon as possible at the beginning of March. So it looks like we're going to have to wait until the beginning of March to get that license. Again, everything's done. We're just awaiting the city's approval. Of course, what do we have at the beginning of March? Well, there's 2 home matches at the beginning of March. First, we have the March 3rd match, which, of course, is the Atletico Madrid semifinal, the second leg of the semifinals of the Copa del Rey. And then, of course, we have March 15th against Sevilla in La Liga. I truly, truly hope that we get this license approved by March 3rd. That way we can have the second leg of the Copa del Rey semifinal where Barcelona will try to mount and come back at home with 60,000 capacity, or 62,000 capacity, I should say. Anyways, on to the next bit of news, because, ladies and gentlemen, today the team was back at work. And if you're wondering, Mo, what do you mean back at work? Well, after the defeat against Girona, Hansi Flick gave the team 2 days off, which is sometimes might sound counterintuitive, since usually when you lose, you're supposed to work harder. But Flick decided that these players needed to have some time off to recharge batteries, to think about what's going on, to reflect on it. So the team had 2 days off, and today the team went back to training. And before they headed to the pitch to train, it's being reported that Flick held an incredibly long tactical session with the team where they went over everything, including, of course, reviewing Flick's system with emphasis on, to return to those tactical points that gave the team success last season, such as intense high pressure and maintaining order within the lines. He also stressed the importance of avoiding losses in critical areas and overall, perfecting the tactical positioning of the players and, of course, going over all the mistakes that the players have been committed. After that tactical session was over, the players headed to the pitch, and 2 players were also seen on the training pitch, training with the group, and it was no other than Pedri and Marcus Rashford, who are both back from injury. Of course, Pedri has been out for a month. Pedri is back. He is expected to be available for the Levante match. Most likely, he's only going to play like 15 minutes. That's what they're saying. And Rashford, of course, he missed 2 matches due to knee discomfort, but he too is back. And of course, this is a huge, major injury boost for Barcelona, especially when it comes to Pedri, who, as we've seen, without him, well, the team looks completely different. Now, let's end today's video because speaking of wingers, since we just mentioned Marcus Rashford, it's being revealed that Barcelona are considering the signing of Malik Fofana, the 20-year-old left winger who currently plows his trade at Lyon du Olympique. No, it's Olympique du Lyon. Wow, completely fucked that up. But Malik Fofana, someone that Barcelona has been tracking for quite some time, and it's being revealed that Barcelona are seriously considering signing him this summer. Now, what's going on with Lyon? Lyon are going through some financial hardships. They're at a point where every summer they have to sell someone just to stay afloat. And it looks like Malik Fofana could be one of those players that they might be forced to sell in the summer. So therefore, Barcelona are very interested in signing him. And how much does Barcelona believe they can sign Malik Fofana for? 30 million euros. The same amount of money that Barcelona would need to sign Marcus Rashford. Now, Malik Fofana this season has only played 9 matches because he did suffer an ankle injury back in October. And during those 9 matches, they scored 2 goals and provided 1 assist. But last season, he, of course, had much better numbers where he scored 11 goals and provided 6 assists. Now, given that Fofana would cost the same as Rashford, my question to you is, who should Barcelona sign? Malik Fofana, 20 years old, left winger, or Marcus Rashford, 28 years old, also left winger? Let me know down below in the comment section. I would honestly prefer Malik Fofana, even though I think Marcus Rashford could obviously hit the ground running because he's in his prime, his experience. Fofana, he's going to need some time to adapt, but we do have Coutinho that can, of course, cover that position as Malik Fofana grows into it. And then when Coutinho's too old, Fofana can take over. I don't know. Let me know you guys' thoughts. But that's all for this video. I'm going live in a few more moments to bring you more Barcelona news. So I hope to see you guys there. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment. And as always, Bis Garça.